This is a comparison video of the Microtech Tachyon to the Tach Bali, which is a clone of the Microtech Tachyon. From a distance, if you don't know much about Bali songs, or if you don't know much about the Tachyon, these Bali songs look very similar in their design. And you might even think that they are the same knife, just maybe different colors. But what I'll do is I'll kind of compare the differences in the way that they're built, the material, and kind of explain why this is now a $600 knife on the market, and this is a $35 knife that I got from, believe it was KnifeZilla. Now, as far as the appearance, the Tach Bali did a pretty good job in cloning the Tachyon. The handle pattern, the cutouts are the same. Let's see if we can zoom. Now, I guess what I'll do is I'll start from the latch. Latch on the Tachyon, the real Tachyon, is, I believe, steel. I don't think it's titanium, I think it's steel. Latch on the Tach Bali is plastic, which I know China-made knives are, essentially garbage, but a plastic latch, that's just kind of disgraceful. It's, I don't know, I mean, I know they're trying to save a buck, but it just feels so cheesy and cheap and tacky. I can't really even explain it. You'll see right here the Microtech Tachyon uses Torx bit screws to hold the handles and the pivots together. The Tach Bali uses the standard Phillips head screw, which I don't really think that's too bad. I mean, some people don't have Torx drivers, so maybe that makes it easier for someone who's just getting into Bali songs. What really matters is the quality of the screws. I flipped this knife, I wouldn't say extensively, but I have flipped it a lot and nothing really has come loose. The pivots did, but they're pretty easy to adjust, and the pivots on the Tach Bali are also Phillips screws. Spacers here are, I do like how the Tach Bali got the look down, and they must be some type of steel spacer. As obviously you can see, there's like a little bit of a machining flaw in the Tach Bali over here. It's not completely even, right? But functionally, the way that they feel, the weight, is good. The handles, the Tachyon, I believe, are titanium handles. These are some type of unknown steel handles. One advantage of having the steel handles is the weight. If you're using the knife as an EDC, I guess the weight may not be a good thing, but the weight for the Tach Bali actually helps it do certain tricks a little bit better because you have a little bit more momentum. Then we get to the pivots. Now, surprisingly, the Tach Bali uses a bushing system just like the Microtech Tachyon, the actual Tachyon. However, the whole point of having bushings is so to minimize blade play and so that the blade swings freely with less friction and resistance. Now, here is the Microtech Tachyon, which I did this already on my review of it, but there's no play. Now we'll go to the Tach Bali, and as you can see, yes, it has bushings, but yes, it has a ridiculous amount of play, and this is after I tightened it, so this is pretty much as good as it gets. I don't understand why on this particular knife they went through all the trouble of putting a bushing system in, and then they just couldn't get the fit even close to having less play. Now here's the real killer of the difference between the real Tachyon and the Tach Bali. As you can see, the Tachyon, the real Tachyon, has phosphorus bronze washers, right? And it's a very tight fit. Now, for the Tach Bali, I don't know what they did here. You have some kind of a metal spacer on one side, well, this side and this side, and then on the other handle you have metal and plastic. They put plastic in there. I took this apart before, and I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, this knife could have been a very excellent, cheap Balisong option. And don't get me wrong, it flips okay, and we'll get into that later. But I just don't know how they screwed that up so bad. You know, they made a knife with bushings, and then they decided to put plastic and metal and all kinds of weird things in the pivot area of the Balisong, which is the most important part, or one of the most important parts. And so what happens is I noticed, I don't know if I can get this on camera, but sometimes when you're closing the knife, it won't close all the way, and I couldn't figure out what it was, but it's because these washers jam, and then you have to see, you can tell, you have to squeeze it, and even this kind of gets stuck a little bit. You have to squeeze it close all the way. Same thing when you open it. It doesn't close. See how it's like a little bit off? You got to squeeze it the rest of the way. Surprisingly, it doesn't really affect the flipping that much, but it's just very annoying, and I just don't know why they couldn't have gotten that right. As far as the blades, again, they got the look down. They have the little groove. Obviously, this is sterile, doesn't really say much on it, but it does look very close to the actual Tachyon. It's probably some cheap steel. It says it's 440, or no, it says it's 420 stainless, so who knows? I don't expect much from these cheap China knives. So it did come out of the box pretty sharp, but not as sharp as the Tachyon. This Tachyon is one of the sharpest knives I've ever handled, but not too bad either. It'll slice paper, it'll probably shave hair, so not bad. So how do they flip? How do they compare when they flip? Kind of differently. Again, these are all steel handles. They have a little bit more momentum. I actually found that chaplains are a bit easier on the Tach Bali than they are the actual Tachyon, because these are lighter handles. The Tachyon tends to be a quicker knife because it's got lightness in the handles with the weight bias at the end. Whereas this weight is spread out a little bit more. It's got a bit more heft to it. You can feel that this has a little bit more weight. If you were to watch me flip them both, you probably couldn't tell which one's the better flipper. I know it sounds weird, but this doesn't flip too bad actually. I'll try to do some comparisons. But overall though, what should you get? $35 Tach Bali or $500 to $600 real Tachyon? If you're just looking for the same dimensions and feel, it actually comes pretty close, and I think it wouldn't be too hard to fix that pivot area if you just got some washers and fixed it up. And like I said, it's annoying, but it doesn't really affect the flipping that much. So yeah, if you're just getting something to flip that looks kind of like the Tachyon and feels something that kind of feels close to Tachyon, it's not a bad option. Obviously, if you're a collector, if you want a quality knife, then yeah, you know there is no substitute. There's nothing built like a real Tachyon. So those are the differences, the main differences. Hope you learned a little bit. I might do a separate review on this just by itself, and I'll try to throw in some flipping footage as well to compare the two. So if you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.